worst couple. The next section's actually titled The Worst Couple. Oh, Lord, where are we going from here? I don't even know, guys. I want to keep sleeping, but the sharp morning sun forces my eyelids open. I blinked, only half awake, and saw a ceiling that I didn't remember. Here is... As I try to wake up from my sleep, I feel a dull pain between my legs and let out a short moan. Oh boy. I immediately remembered the events of last night and felt bitter about it. Yes, yesterday, with Suren, The dull pain points out what has been taken from me. I closed my eyes tightly. As if they stayed open, I felt as if the tears would come flowing out. You know what? If you're gonna cry, I think this is a perfectly valid thing to cry about. I'd prepared myself for this, so I have no regrets. However, my heart creaks as I realize I valued what I lost more than I realized. No way, Suren? The sound of a knock on the door brings me back to reality. I was frozen on the bed, wondering if I should get up or just ignore it. While it's true that Suren became my husband, I can't just switch over my emotions like that. Unlike yesterday, today I don't have the skill to put on the face of an obedient wife. Fair. Both of these are us just staying in bed, for the record. It's just our attitude while we're staying in bed. I mean, I would be inclined to do this, but I think for the sake of the route, we probably should do the top one. Oh! What? Naran? Hello? Are you coming to wake me? I'm so confused. Whatever. Maybe I should have been angry. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine. For now, I'll pretend to be asleep. Though I'll have to face him eventually, I'm not prepared mentally yet. I decided to give a little bit of time and pulled the sheets up. What should I do? Maybe I should get up after all. The person entered without a reply, leading to a bit of confusion. The footsteps approached and stopped beside the bed as I was still wondering what kind of face I should be putting on. I thought I'd be woken up, but for whatever reason, they didn't even call out to me. The person who entered only left their presence as I could feel them looking down on me. Naran, if you're just staring at me while I'm in this bed after, like, the marriage night, I am weirded out by you, not gonna lie. Please do something. I was wondering what to do, and after laying there for a while... Oh my god! Naran, what is wrong with you? Also, now I have questions about, like, getting on your route. Do we still end up married to Suren? And then not later? I don't even know. My brain hurts. I guess we'll just have to... Let's just see how it goes. We'll just let it play out.
Leave it to bro. He really got himself a magnificent wife.
That's not Suren's voice. Hearing this voice from close distance, I nearly jumped up. Who is it? Unable to stand the feeling of being looked down upon, I opened my eyes.
What?
What are you doing? Why did you come in here? What is the purpose? What is your purpose? Ah! I was surprised at his sudden surprise. We both jumped back and held down our hearts as they were about to beat out of our chests.
Hey, if you're awake, then say so. That really scared me, you know.
Hey, if I'm asleep, don't come into my room, you weirdo. No, Naala, don't apologize. This guy's I'm fine. I'm not gonna go on a rant. I'm gonna control myself. I'm sorry? Speaking with the angry look that he had, I couldn't help but to apologize to him. The boy, having regained his senses after I apologized, straightened his posture, removed himself from the wall he'd stuck himself to, nice, and cleared his throat.
Ah, I guess we should start with self-introductions. I'm Naran, one of Lord Suren's men.
I'm pretty sure this kid is the one who called out to Suren before in the market. I wonder if he has a different position from the other subordinates. Incidentally, I do remember Suren giving orders to someone like a subordinate last night. I couldn't feel any sort of presence beyond the door, which creeped me out. But the boy in front of me now... more friendly than creepy? I'll say he gives off a different impression. I'm still creeped out that he came in here, not gonna lie. Interesting. You like that, just that I was like, you give off a different impression, not the friendly thing. Maybe it's because I thought of you with creepy in mind that you were like, I don't like that. Well, I'm kind of slowly getting a read on you, I guess. Okay. I'll make notes. I'll make notes as I go along, I guess. However, the boy in front of me now gives off a different impression. He's full of presence, or lively. There are better ways of saying this, but he feels like a young kid and not a military commander's subordinate. That said, he doesn't feel like a servant either. I wonder what his position is. I'm Naala, I responded with a bit of caution, and the boy who called himself Naran opened his big eyes as his facial expression broke. His face changes rapidly over a short period of time, reinforcing his youthful impression.
Mrs., you sure do have a beautiful voice.
Thank you. Huh?
You know, I always did figure that bro would nab himself a magnificent beauty for a wife. But Mrs., you're even more beautiful than I ever imagined, and somehow it makes me happy as if it were me. But getting such a beautiful wife, that's bro for ya!
I think I'm gonna go with, he really admires Suren. I'm gonna leave. I'm going to assume that's probably for Naran. This kid really admires Suren. Never mind my supposed beauty. I get that Naran is really fascinated by his big brother Suren. With a drawn-out laugh, I push the conversation forward. So, you are...
Ah, call me Naran.
Naran, what are you doing here? Upon being asked, Naran clapped his hands together as if remembering something.
Ah! Oh yeah, bro asked me to call for you.
Suren is already awake?
Yeah, he's waiting to have his meal with you.
Huh, we have to eat together. I was about to say why when I realized the obvious. I became Suren's wife last night, in other words, a member of this house. Morning, noon, night, there is no other place to eat than here. That obviously hurt my heart a bit. Okay, I'll be there soon. Honestly, I didn't want to see him, but I was scared to think of what might happen in the future if I didn't. Scolding my heavy mind and body, I got out of bed in order to get ready. I finally realized that I was wearing a robe. I don't remember putting it on, so Suren must have dressed me while I was out. Thinking that he was probably gawking at my naked body the whole time made my face flush all at once. And before I could stop him, Naran picked up a small bottle that had fallen beside the bed and muttered,
Oh? This is the wound medicine that Ruzi made. Did bro get hurt somewhere?
Aw, he left her some pain medication. I mean, that's kinda thoughtful. This guy. He's like strangely thoughtful, but also a brute? It hurts my brain, the contradiction. Naran didn't seem to put the pieces together, which made things even more awkward. This is wound medicine?
Ah, yeah. So I don't really know why, but I was asked to go pick it up, as bro said he'd need it after taking his bride. I heard it's okay to apply it to sensitive skin. Missus?
Ah, that's... Speaking of which, last night Suren indicated that this had a different usage purpose. Oh. Okay, I was like, was it used for the act, or is she... I'm trying to figure it out. If this liquid is wound medicine, it was probably made to prevent inflammation after intercourse. Yeah, Why would that be your thought? I mean, obviously it was because it was your first time, I think. Yeah, there we go. Because it was my first time? My head is confused. Just what is Suren after? I don't think he'd take care for a woman he despises. It really is a mystery. He says awful things, but then he does things that indicates that he cares. Maybe he knows that I'm the king's sister and is trying to use me for something. Now, if we were with Noel, I would agree with you. I don't think it's that deep with Suren, though. But maybe I'm wrong.
Alright, I'll take you to the dining room.
Thanks. If he thinks that I'm really the king's sister, I can't give him anything to confirm his suspicions. With that carved into my chest, I followed Naran with the determination of going to the battlefield. The battlefield of marriage. Breakfast was already on the table as I entered Suren's room. Oh, okay, so you're having it in his room. So you don't have like a I was picturing like a big dining table affair kind of thing, but we get to see Suren's bedroom. It's kind of similar to Naala's back in Ruse. He's got weapons in his room and stuff like that. Likes horses, apparently. In addition to colorful vegetables and fruits, there is a heaping portion of salted boiled chicken in the center. Quite the breakfast. This seems to be a little too luxurious for breakfast, right?
Good morning, madam.
Good morning. It took me a few seconds to figure out who Madam was referring to. The waiter bows to me as we pass each other, and I am awestruck. I turned my restless gaze to the back of the room and saw someone sitting pompously on the other side of the table. Don't hey Mrs. Me! You rude.
Hey, Mrs.
The way he teased me, puzzled by my reaction, struck a nerve. Realizing of the unpleasant truth that there was no way to escape slowly began to creep up on me, and I began to feel nauseous. Yesterday, I didn't expect to be greeted with a refreshing breakfast today, so it was too much to expect and my stomach was heavy.
What's wrong? Have a seat, Mrs.
It's even more annoying because Suren seems to be in a very good mood. Do you enjoy seeing people suffer so much? I think he likes sparring with you. A lot. I took my seat in silence, knowing that if I opened my mouth, I would end up cursing again.
Hey, can't you even say good morning to your loving husband?
Good morning, husband.
Normally you'd smile while saying that sort of thing.
How dare he tell me to smile after what he did yesterday? How much does he intend to ridicule me? I'm sorry, I'm just so exhausted from what happened yesterday that I don't have the strength to smile. Only my tone of voice is obedient, as there are thorns included in my words. Suren, looking a bit uninterested, didn't pursue it any further and began eating. As for me, my stomach was growling, but I had no appetite at all. I'm getting soft too. I have no interest in starving to death just because I'm stubborn. If I don't eat, I'll be a long way away from fulfilling my wish of getting the Roos women home. I could understand this clearly, but I didn't feel like I could swallow solid food, as if my esophagus had rotted away. I have to force myself to eat something. I took the plunge and reached for the fruit that seemed to be the easiest to eat. But then, my eyes met with Suren's, who'd be glaring at me, which took all the wind out of my sails. What?
Nothing.
Does he think that I think it's poisoned? Not only am I being ridiculed, but I'm also being suspected as well. In contrast to this bright and sunny morning, it makes me want to cry. Maybe I should give up on breakfast. I'm sure skipping one meal won't kill me. I feel like throwing myself down and put my hands on my lap. Then Naran, who had been concerned about me, approached and gave me some of the boiled vegetables on a small plate.
Mrs., are you a picky eater?
No. I just don't have much of an appetite this morning. Sorry, even though you went through the trouble to prepare all this.
Hey, why are you talking to him all casual-like?
Rather, I'd like to ask if there was anything in our relationship so far that could be considered to be casual. I let out a small sigh and ignored the small talk coming from the side. I think I'll have my appetite back by lunch, so would you mind setting some aside for me?
Mrs., we're not gonna serve you leftovers. We'll make something hearty for you in the afternoon. So for now, how about some vegetables at least?
I'm gonna need you to bear strong, healthy children for me. So to hell with vegetables. Eat meat. Meat!
Oh, that's why you were glaring like, how dare you touch that fruit? Eat that chicken. He interrupted Naran and held out some meat in front of me. Its heavy appearance made me feel even more nauseous. Yeah, I'm like, if you're nauseous, meat is like the last thing. I'll eat eventually.
When is that?
When the time comes. Just leave me alone already, is what I'd like to say, but I don't, averting my gaze. So close. Suren looked at me with a serious face, as if maybe he was misunderstanding something.
Maybe you have a fever.
I don't.
Then eat.
I just said I don't want to frickin' eat, okay? Sheesh.
But for the sake of the root! Maybe he really is concerned for me. Even so, the humiliation of what I was forced to do yesterday came back to me and I couldn't openly accept it. Ultimately, he's just worried about my body that will eventually bear his child, making me feel despondent.
But Mrs., you really need to eat to keep up your strength.
Thanks. I'm sure I'll eat at lunchtime.
Do as you like.
In an overtly disgruntled manner, Suren stood up from his seat. Naran, standing between us two, hurriedly followed him.
Wait, bro. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but you just went through the trouble of seducing her, so maybe you could be a little nicer to her?
This guy gets it. Yes, seducing. If you mean threaten to rape my best friend in front of me and then force me to marry him so that he doesn't, yeah, seducing. But I appreciate the sentiment, Naran.
Don't get the wrong idea. She became my wife because she wanted to.
Well, that might be the case, but...
Naran looks at me and Suren alternately with a puzzled expression on his face, so much so that I feel sorry for him when I see him. Perhaps he really thought I wanted to be his wife. If that were the case, it would be natural for me to be upset by this unexpected situation. However, Naran's concerns were brushed aside by Suren.
I don't seduce women. Never have, never will.
You got that right, buddy.
If you're that stubborn.
Shut up. Don't tell me how to handle women when you've never even kissed one yet.
Oh, I'm just saving that for when I find someone I really like.
Good on you, Naran. You keep that attitude.
Are you really now?
He laughed in a small, mocking way and patted Naran's head gingerly. Treated like a child, Naran patted down his truffled hair, ruffled I guess, and twisted his lips as if to pout.
Anyway, I'm leaving her to you. Make sure she eats lunch.
I get that, but... Speaking of, an emissary from Lord Toya came regarding the missus.
Suren glanced my way for a moment. When I tilted my ear, trying to get a feel for the situation, he only clicked his tongue at me. What? I'm the one who wants to do that.
I'm busy. Tell him to come back tomorrow.
Huh, but...
Toya smells a rat. Careful, Suren. You're treading on dangerous ground. Suren closed the door behind him, ignoring Naran, who'd chased behind him. Naran's shoulders dropped with a bewildered face. Toya must have heard about what happened last night. It must be an annoying situation for Toya, who'd wanted things to go peacefully. Wonder how Noel's feeling about this too, because he had his own plot going about getting Naala together with Toya. So he might be a little miffed. Suren knows he's going to get blamed for it. Well, it is 100% his fault. So he's giving it some time to settle down.
I'm sure Bro doesn't want Mrs. to be taken away from him.
Huh? I frown at Naran's bewildering statement. Where on earth did he come up with that just now?
Mrs., you're not quite feeling right now, aren't you? If the king were to see you now, he might misunderstand that this were forced and annul the marriage.
Whoa, really? That would be awful.
That's why maybe he's stalling for time? That's what I think, at least. This is just my speculation, so don't tell Bro, okay?
Well, it was kind of half-assed. Kinda was. Oh boy, what a crappy situation. Even if I complain to uninvolved parties, that doesn't change the current situation. I let out a small sigh and looked at the door that Suren had left through. I can't believe he wants kids that badly. I know he said that, but I wonder. Oh. Apparently there is. I wonder if there's some other reason why. Hey, Naran.
What?
I heard that Suren could become an aristocrat if he had an heir. Is that true?
Yeah. Bro's a military commander, so he does have that right. But going from being a commoner to being a military commander is already plenty amazing.
Is that so?
Yeah. Is it different in Roos?
In Roos, we don't make as much of a distinction based on lineage or family background as in Nasla. In that sense, it's a world where ability is far more important than in Nasla.
Wow. As a commoner myself, I can't help being a little envious.
With so much discrimination, how did Suren obtain the highest rank in the military?
That's due to Bro's very extensive military accomplishments. Bro was instrumental in preventing the invasion from abroad. I was almost killed by the invaders when Bro saved my life.
Speaking of, Nasla was almost invaded 5 years ago. It's still fresh in my mind that 5 years ago a country from overseas, seeking to take advantage of them in a weakened state, launched a war of aggression against Nasla. I didn't know much about it, as I wasn't involved in politics, but I did overhear that the king and one hero had saved the country. Well, isn't that a little interesting? So that was Suren.
The previous king recognized Bro for his talents. That wrapping he wears was a gift from the previous king.
Ah, so that's why. I get why Noel spoke to him in such acerbic tones on that first day.
Really, Bro is strong and cool, a man among men. And that's what you like about him too, right, Mrs.?
No comment on that one. I'm just gonna shut up about that. The fact that he asked with such a sparkle in his eyes made it impossible for me to say what I really wanted to. Naran was a Nasla man, but it's not like I wanted to hurt him. Perhaps it was Naran's straightforward admiration of his bro, Suren, that reminded me of my older self, who admired my adoptive father, Tangle. No one likes to see someone they care about be humiliated. I was aware of Naran's gaze, as he wanted to say something, but I pretended not to notice as I got up from my seat. I wonder if Shalu really is okay. The position of the sun changed while I was thinking about it. I let out a heavy sigh, knowing by the length of the shadows that it was almost noon. By now, everyone should know about what happened last night. I hope they're not too confused. I'm especially curious about what happened to Shalu after she escaped. Is she really okay? Is she blaming herself? Anxiety grows in proportion to the passage of time. But in the current condition, where it would take care to leave this room, much less Suren's mansion, I can't go to check up on everyone. Even now, Suren's subordinates are standing at the entrance to the room. Even having just become a contract bride, with the guards standing watch here, I feel more like a prisoner. I get asked why even when I go to the washroom, which is very suffocating. I let out a sigh for the first time since this morning, when I hear light footsteps approaching and look up.
It's me, missus. May I come in?
Sorry, Naran, it's not your route. I don't want to see anyone right now. It seems my energy had been drained far more than I thought due to the drastic change in environment. After thinking so, I shook my head in a pathetic manner. Then you tell him to come in anyway. Naala, why give me the choice if you're just gonna say, go do whatever? Girl. Go ahead.
I'm not quite sure what to say.
He trailed off at the end, perhaps indicating his confusion. He scratched his cheek, looking at me with a face that seemed to say he was feeling awkward and sorry.
Bro didn't say anything, so I assumed that Mrs. had married him because you fell in love with him. But when I saw you this morning, I thought that something was wrong.
Did you hear it from someone?
From one of Bro's aides in the mansion.
Oh, so now he's been brought up to speed. Interesting. He's like, oh, crap.
I had no idea what I was talking about, and I said a lot of insensitive things. I'm sorry.
You know what, Naran? You've earned yourself a bunch of cookies for that. I mean, you could have just continued to play dumb, but you're like, I made an ass of myself. She probably thinks I'm a complete loser. I had no idea about the situation. I should go apologize. So, kudos to you, sir. He bowed his head as he spoke. His shoulders, retaining some of their youth, quivered a little. That's not true.
Huh?
You've shown me more care than Suren ever has. Ouch, it's true though. Even now, you're thinking about my feelings. Naran was only genuinely happy for his respected boss's celebration. I can't blame him if he had no evil intentions. It may take some time before I can look at a Nasla man with unclouded eyes, but looking at Naran as an individual, I do kind of like him a little bit. Well, already distracted, girl. He's always trying so hard and is honest, so I feel at ease when I'm interacting with him. It's kind of like looking at a little brother you can't just leave be. Stop putting people in the brother box. What is it with you and your brother boxes? I wonder if that's why he's more like a brother than a subordinate to Suren. While thinking, the face of my problems came to mind, causing me to frown.
But Bro is thinking about your feelings.
How is that?
Actually, in Nasla, married men and women sleep in the same sleeping quarters, but Bro gave you your own room.
Maybe he just didn't want to get murdered in his sleep?
Nah, I don't think that's it. I'm sure Bro knows that you're afraid of him, so probably he's waiting for you to stop being that way.
I wonder if he's that generous. I certainly can't see it. If he were such a generous person, he wouldn't have pushed me down to the floor when we first met. With apologies to Naran, my first impression of Suren is so strong that it's difficult to think of anything he does as having good intent behind it.
Oh yeah!
Thinking he had come up with some valid counter-argument, Naran turned and left the room. I was taken aback by the abrupt action, and soon the sound of lively footsteps returned. I gotta say, Naran believes in Suren a lot. A lot. He's going to bat for this guy.
Yeah, this!
Huh? Naran held a cylindrical vessel in his hand. Peeking inside due to the momentum at which it was presented to me, I saw a thick, pale orange liquid shimmering. From the color and smell, I'd say it's probably smashed fruit and cow's milk mixed together. A smoothie? The sweet aroma made my stomach growl.
When I'm hungry, I'm always a bit irritable, yeah? So if you drink this, you might feel a little bit differently.
He's like, maybe you're just hangry. Here, have a smoothie. Well, I appreciate the thought, I guess. He's really grasping for straws here. It is true that when hunger is too much, people become irritable easily. Even if I have no intentions of rethinking my thoughts about Suren, Naran does have a point. If my body is weak, so too is my mind. I can't even think straight. More than anything else, now I was happy to have proof that he did care about me.
That Naran cares about you?
Naran, by chance, did you make this?
Yeah, you weren't very hungry this morning, so I made something that'd be easy to drink. I chilled it up to now, so I think it's pretty good. I also drink this when I don't have an appetite. It's pretty effective, I guarantee it.
Proudly, he flexes the bicep on his arm like a young boy. I think we're around the same age, but I can't help but to giggle at this cute gesture. Yeah, it does seem to be effective. I drink a sip while responding. The sweet juice flowed down the back of my throat smoothly, probably because of its mellow texture. Immediately, my brain begins to crave it, as if remembering hunger. I should have been taking sips, but before I knew it, I was holding the container in an elevated position. It's delicious.
There's plenty of nutrients in this, so you should be feeling better by night. It's thanks to this that I've got such a strong, manly body.
A strong, manly body.
You just made fun of me.
I did not.
I mean, sure, I'm thinner than Bro, but I've still got muscle. Oh, Mrs.?
There were droplets falling into the container. Following them with my eyes, I realized that I was crying. Sorry. Something must have gotten into my eyes.
Mrs.
I tried to fake it somehow, but the tears just kept coming, and they won't stop coming, and they won't stop coming. One after the other. Why? There have been many painful events since I was kidnapped. Even so, I never cried, so why is it coming out now? I was terribly frustrated, but also somewhat relieved, which was a strange feeling.
I'm also a Nasla man, so I might be an enemy to you.
I'd hung my head with tears streaming down my face when I heard a voice on the back of my head. It sounded both hesitant and determined at the same time.
But I want to be there for you and support you. I know it's a selfish thing to say, because I can't send you back home. I'll do my best to make you as happy as possible. So...
Thanks, Naran. Naran, with a pained look on his face, reached out with his arm. For a moment I thought he was going to touch my cheek, But after a moment, his fingertips slipped away and landed on my hand, which was holding the cup. You guys are, getting a little close here. He took the empty vessel away from me and spoke with a wry smile.
I'll bring you another.
Oh, I don't need that much. Naran ran out at a great speed, as if he couldn't hear me tell him to stop. When I was alone, the word enemy that Naran had just said fell into my heart. Enemy. Naran certainly is from the enemy country of Nasla that kidnapped us, but that doesn't mean he personally wanted to do that. I wonder if he's looking for a good reason to be nice to me. When I think of the country of Nasla, I always feel a sense of anger. Depressing thoughts accumulate. And yet, when I face people in person such as Toya, Ruzi, Naran, I feel confused. I don't know why it feels so horrible at times to hold on to hate. Let's stop this. It's best not to think about anything extra right now. I dropped my eyelids deeply and covered the haze in my chest.